This one is for my chronic overthinkers, for those who intellectualize everything, who are always analyzing situations and thinking about things and overthinking about things. You feel stuck in your head. And I want to share a few realizations with you that I have had as one of you. But first, let me ask you a question. When was the last time that you really felt in your body? And if you have to take a little time to think about that, that's not a personal failing. I actually think that our society really rewards that. It's very much like a conditioned thing for a lot of people, and myself included. That's where I see it for myself, and that's why I want to talk about this and share about some of the things that I have realized around this topic. And I say this as a professional dancer. I am a dance teacher for over a decade. I'm also a certified personal trainer. And still, even just the other day, I was over explaining something to my sister. And I was like, my body was telling me this, but why didn't I want it? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like totally intellectualizing it. And she was like, you actually don't need to explain, like you could just listen to your body in that situation. You don't have to analyze it and try to understand it. Like that's what you've taught me. And so like I even had to be reminded of it very recently. So one of the first realizations that I've had about this is that if you're not in your body, where are you? Right? Okay, like people will say, I'm stuck in my head. Your head is still part of your body. It's part of your like corporal chemical, like because we're all made of chemicals, atoms, and all of that. Like part of your physical complex, your head is still part of that. Your brain is still even part of that. So, what are we talking about whenever we say I'm stuck in my head? Because the head is still part of the body. And so this actually gets into Descartes' mind body problem, which that's like the words that they use for this. And it's like, okay, where where is your mind then? Where are your thoughts? Like you could drop me a pin to where your body, including your head and your brain, physically is right now. Like you could, find my friends, share my location with where you physically are in measurable space. I could find where that is, but your thoughts? Where are your thoughts right now? And if you're someone who meditates, you might really be familiar with this experience. Your thoughts you might have had like an outer body experience. That starts to get into this realm of like where you physically are in space versus where your or not even, see, again, not even, and it's so like the words, it's very semantic here, but like where your thoughts are, where your mind is. And actually, a lot of my relationship with this comes from a Mayan saying. And I'll share a little story. I was at a dance retreat recently and just getting to enjoy it, not teaching. I love to still, even though I teach, I still love to be a student. I love to go enjoy what other instructors have to share. And I was at a dance retreat, and there was a practice in it where we were asked to find our masculine energy in our body and find our feminine energy in our body. And she talked about how we all have both, which I totally agree with. And for me, it started to really make me look at the way that I think about masculine and feminine energy, because that is actually really informed by, like I said, this Mayan saying. And it's a text I read a long time ago in a translation of an old Mayan text. And then even just this last year, I was in Cozumel at like this place where the Mayans would really have this pilgrimage to the goddess Ixchel. And it was at one of these temples. And I toured with a man who was Mayan. And I asked him about this saying. And he was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And the saying is, my father is intrinsic awareness, and my mother is the ultimate sphere. And so what that makes me think of is that my father, like my masculine, if we think about the masculine energy, is intrinsic awareness. That goes back into that thought, the mind body problem part of it, right? The mind, where are my thoughts? I don't know where my thoughts are, but that's just that awareness. And then my mother is the ultimate sphere, meaning my feminine is the physical embodied world that masculine comes into. And I also have studied a lot of the Druid texts, the Celtic Druid texts. And in that, the masculine energy is radiating or the active force, while the feminine energy is the passive or receiving. So passive is still a force, active is still a force, but it's like a yin and yang, it's light and dark, because that's really where a lot of the Druid alchemy is what it's thinking about is polarity and this dance of polarities. And so that's exactly where I'm going with this is this dance of being in your mind and that conscious awareness, that intrinsic awareness, that consciousness, as well as the physical space where that consciousness lands. Because I've read so many things about both of these, and they're often arguments of one or the other, like the embodied cognition idea of like that this is it, that it's all coming from your body, or then the more intellectual side of things or the intellectualized science side of things is very like it's all your mind and it's all your thoughts and your thoughts are what is making it all. But as a dancer, I see it as a dance between the two. You get to dance with the thoughts and being in your thoughts again, like that's what I'm doing whenever I'm meditating and quote leaving my body and going into my thoughts and going into my mind. Actually, a great example of that is this course that I did on the cervix and connecting with the cervix. And it was something that we did. There was this part of the practice where she had us, our minds like hop to all of these different things. Like for me to physically, I would have to get up and even just walk into the kitchen that's right behind me. I'd have to physically move there. But my thoughts, I can hop from thought to thought to thought to thought. And that was something that I became aware of in that course and where the thoughts are because we were moving from our brain or from whatever our thoughts were on into the womb and cultivating thoughts about the womb before even going there physically, like before touching, before using the hands. And so like thinking of this that thoughts part of it, so that's the dance of it, right? You have the thoughts, you have that intrinsic awareness, and then you also have the physical embodied experience where that is all taking place. We recently had a full moon in Capricorn, and I was thinking a lot about containers and containment and how, in order to be free, there's often a container that needs to be there. Like, in order for me to dance as freely as I need to, or desire to, or want to, there is a level of routine and habit that needs to be in my physical life that I actually go into that I have to do on the day, like container that allows me to then be free. This is something that I studied in an acting, or I read in an acting book back when I was studying acting and dance. And it was talking about how like all of the rehearsals that you do as an actor, rehearsing and practicing, all of that is so that whenever the curtain rises, you can go into it and completely be free, completely be in flow because you have that container that you've rehearsed that's there supporting you. That goes back into how a lot of people talk about the masculine and the feminine as well, that the masculine is this container for the feminine flow and for that to be able to be in the flow of things. And I actually used an interesting word there that really broke a word that broke open for me recently because I said like I need certain habits in order to be the kind of dancer that I want to be, to have the kind of freedom in my body that I want to have. I need specific habits because really habits are going to support one thing or another. If I had habits that were very stagnant, if my habits did not involve moving my body, that's going to be a different inhabitation that I experience versus if I have habits that are all about moving. And then what level of freedom am I going to have in my movement because of those habits? And so that's actually the word that broke open for me was inhabit. What you inhabit in your life, you are in the habit of. So really, if we want to talk about what I would recommend for getting out of your head and into your body, it's what are you in the habit of? And I'm not talking about that you have to completely overhaul everything, but what are your habits for connecting to both sides of that, for being in your thoughts? Like maybe that one's just super dominant. And if you're a chronic overthinker, you're in the overthinking all the time. Maybe the habit needs to get into overdoing. I saw a video of a girl recently, and she was like, hey, overthinkers, you need to be overdoing it, not overthinking it, overdoing. Just take action. And actually, my word for this year, just again to tell you how much I still work on this, even as like a professional mover, inhabiter of my body, I still work on this. My word for this year was impetuous. Because I think impetuous has a pretty negative connotation a lot of the times whenever I hear it, like someone was acting really rashly. They did that without thinking. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what I need to embody this year. My chronic overthinkers, we need to be impetuous. We need to just start acting without all of the overthinking, without all of the overanalyzing. And even as I say that, I'm like, because it's it's like, "Oh, but I love this strategy and I love think," and what I've realized this year, because it's now July, like 7 months into this, I'm still gonna have some thoughts about it. It's still gonna be strategic on some level. It's just not overdone. And that impetuousness especially comes from trusting the intuition. And you're able to get out of your head and into your body when you can listen to your body, when you've built that muscle of listening to your body. So that's another thing I would definitely recommend if you want to get out of your head and into your body. What habits do you have for listening to your body? Right now, just check in, notice where you are in your body. Is your posture slumped forward? Are you hunched over as you're watching this? What's happening with your neck? What's happening with your jaw? Are your hands clenched? Are they relaxed? What about your booty cheeks? Are they all clenched up or are they nice and relaxed? Like our body has so much there for us to notice that will inform what exactly we are feeling and experiencing in that moment. And so getting into the body is partly just noticing and experiencing what it is that you are experiencing in that moment. It's the in the habit that you inhabit is noticing what's happening with your breath. And I think one really powerful thing can be like if you're deciding something, if you're trying to make a decision, right? That's where we get in this overthinking and overanalyzing. Go into your body. If you think about doing like one, say there's like an A and a B that you're deciding between. If you think about A, what happens in your body? Do you start to feel ease? If you start to put in, this is using your thoughts to get into your body, start to envision that situation and yourself doing that, do you feel lighter? Does the breath get easier? Do you feel more freedom? Or do you like get excited? Do you maybe start to do a little dance or whatever it is? Or if you think about B, and then do you start to get, or this could happen for A or B, whenever you think about either option, do you get that excited or do you start to get tense? Do you start to go back into that overthinking and overanalyzing and being very, very intellectualizing about everything? And do you start to contract in your body? That's really what you can notice in that moment. And do I feel expansive in this or do I feel minimized? Do I feel smaller? Do I feel contracted whenever I think about doing either A or B? And that's just one way to get out of your head and into your body because also you're, I feel like I've been saying this already, right? You're not just doing one. It's not that if you're in your head, oh, you're bad. And if you're in your body, oh, you're good. There's a time and a place for both. And actually, I love the song by Funkadelic, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow. He also like says it in Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts, another amazing song. Free your mind and your ass will follow. But another thing that I've seen be completely true is the inverse of that. Free your ass and your mind will follow. So sometimes you can free the stories that you're thinking of. Maybe you think a new story, you have a realization, right? Like you're listening to this right now, or you're watching this, you're thinking about these things right now. That's like the free your mind part of it, and then your ass will follow. Then from there, you can connect with your body. That's one way that it works. But another way, like, and that's actually how we'll wrap this up, is me suggesting to just go do it. Just go do so. Go put on a song that you love and move your body. You can free your ass and your mind will follow too. Actually, a really fun thing is to go both ways with the situation. Like I will even journal and then go move my body and then journal again. And I will notice how different the journaling, like what I'm writing about on either side of it is, because I'm dancing with my thoughts and my embodiment, my being in my thoughts, being in my head, and being in my body. So I really don't know that necessarily. So that's the realization. Another one of the realizations that I want to share with you is like, I don't think that the answer is necessarily to get out of your head. You have a beautiful, brilliant mind and imagination, and the stories we tell ourselves absolutely impact what we physically do. But at the same time, what you physically do impacts how you think. The definition of embodiment in psychology, the phenomenological definition of embodiment in psychology, is that what you're physically doing and what you're physically experiencing impacts how you process information. Like if I'm holding, they've done studies, if I'm holding a cold glass and someone starts talking to me, I'm going to perceive them and what they say as more cold than if I'm holding a hot glass of, or like mug of something. If I'm holding hot coffee, I'm going to perceive what someone said as more warm. Or if I'm holding a really heavy box and they tell me some news, I'm going to perceive it as heavier. So think about if you're always holding tension in your body, or you're feeling your body, say you go into fight or flight mode, like even you could just be hungry, right? So your system, your nervous system, you're feeling off, you're irritable and all of this just because you're hungry, or maybe you're holding tension, you've had this knot in your back forever and you're always feeling tense. All of that information that you're processing is coming through in that way, is coming through that embodiment. And so you're perceiving those things as more tense or more irritable or more irritating. And so that's really the main realization here, is that it is a dance and we get to dance with it because we have these beautiful minds and we have these beautiful bodies, and we get to play with that dance of utilizing that both. Again, my father is intrinsic awareness and my mother is the ultimate sphere. So I have this awareness, and then I have this body that I get to bring that awareness into. And then I have this body that is informing what my awareness is about. And that is a beautiful dance, my friends. That's one of my favorite dances. And I encourage you to enjoy it. Again, going back to inhabit, what you're in the habit of. I hope it's enjoyment, and not just enjoyment in like, oh, all I ever do is try to get my quick dopamine fix. Like, for me, again, what's that container for dancing? I want to enjoy dance to the best of my abilities. So, yeah, I show up and do workouts that I don't necessarily feel like doing in the moment, but that helps me enjoy my life more because I'm stronger. My lymph system is working better. All kinds of benefits that come from me moving every day that I get to that help me enjoy my life more, even if necessarily that habit I don't necessarily enjoy in the moment. Or like cooking. I'm not crazy about cooking, but I've been doing it more and more because I enjoy how I feel when I have healthy home cooked meals with very intentional ingredients, really treating food as medicine and cultivating the kind of well-being that I desire. Again, that kind of physical embodiment that I desire through what I'm eating, that I get to enjoy, that helps me enjoy my life more, even if in the moment I'm not necessarily like, yeah, I gotta get groceries and then cook them and then get to eat them. So these are my tips for getting out of your head and into your body, and really ultimately just realizing that it is a beautiful dance of getting to be in your head, but really, you know that I mean in your mind complex and your thought complex that is not in the measurable linear physical world, as well as being in your body, which is in the physical, chemical, measurable, linear world. it weren't for this body, you wouldn't get to taste. You wouldn't get, so long as you have these senses, right? All good. You are beautifully made exactly as you are. You are wonderful and whole and complete as you are, no matter what your ability level. But how else would you taste? How else would you see? How else would you hear? How else would you touch, smell if it were not for your body? That's what's allowing you to have these things that then your thoughts get to be around. And also your thoughts like are going to inform the actions that you take. And so that is a beautiful dance of inhabiting, my friend, and hopefully getting to enjoy this life more. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode.